Hey, I'm Carrie here at Get Your Vibe Right. And a while back, I did a video called Nobody is Ever Overreacting. Do you believe me? Well, if you don't, go back and take a look at what I had to say. Here's the nutshell of it, and I'm going to build on that from the opposite perspective in this video. So the essence of the idea that nobody is ever overreacting is that they are reacting from their life experiences. They are reacting from their point of view to whatever the situation is or whatever may have been said. And you have to understand that they come with a history. They have had other experiences like this that maybe didn't go so well, that had meaning to them. And somebody else is always assigning their own meaning to whatever it is we do and say. And we don't necessarily have that same perspective. So oftentimes we see somebody having this sort of out of control reaction to something that we said or did, and it seems like they're overreacting. When based on all of their information and history and evidence gathering, that is a perfectly normal reaction to be having, right? So now what I want to do in this video is turn that inside and talk about how does that happen when we're the person who's doing the overreacting. What's going on there, right? So I just had this happen with a girlfriend of mine recently. She called me up. She was very upset because the guy that she has been dating for a while had messaged her and said, "Hey, just letting you know, I'm going out to dinner with so and so and such tomorrow, and I'm not going to be available." Okay, great. You know, most of us would be like, fantastic, have a great time. But my friend had a very different reaction. She immediately thought, I'm not invited, something must be wrong, something's going on here. I've always been invited before in the past. This must mean something. He doesn't want to include me. He doesn't want me to know about something that's going to happen. This is the beginning of the end. And in, a matter of seconds, really, minutes maybe, this was a very big deal that had her very, very deep into a well of upset, anxiety, and despair. And, she called me, reached out, very upset, like, this is so unfair, I don't know. And I kind of had to remind her, like, wait a minute, tell me exactly what the text said again. And the way I perceived it, of course, was, hey, he's just letting you know he's going to go hang with his friends tomorrow and he won't be available for a date. Or he won't be coming over. And she's like, no, you don't understand. In the past, I've been invited. And when they said, why don't you come? What they really meant was the two of us. And he's excluding me. And it's very weird. Something's up. I'm highly suspicious. And you can see how she assigned a different meaning to that text than was probably intended by him or was perceived by me. And that's based on her history, right? She maybe has had another situation like this where things didn't work out so well, or another text came in like that, and that was the beginning of the end of a relationship. And so warning bells are going off in her that seem very out of proportion for him. Right? And, this went on for a very long time that she was upset by this. She made up a story in her head about what this meant, and her reaction was based on the story that she made up, not the reality of the situation and what was really going on. Sometimes in transformation work, you will hear people say, everything is neutral. Everything that is said, everything that is done, every situation, every event, it's neutral. We're the ones who assign the meaning to it. We say whether it's good or bad. This is, something that's going to turn out very badly for me. This is great news. This is not so great news. And it's always our perception, our history that we're using. We've gathered a lot of evidence by this point in our lives, right? And we're using that to make a determination about what's going on in the world around us. But we're assigning meaning. Other people aren't assigning that meaning for us. We decide that based on what we know from our life experience. So when you get into a situation like this, because we all do it. I do this too. I make up these crazy stories in my head, and then I believe myself. I believe myself that that's what's really going on. And I dig myself deeper and deeper into a well of low vibrational feelings: upset, anger, resentment, depression, anxiety, whatever it is, based on what I've told myself about the situation, based on historical evidence that I have in my life. So these low vibe feelings, they're so bad for us. I mean, they affect our entire body. When we spend days and weeks and months in upset, in anxiety, in anger, in fear, you guys know this, like, we get sick more often. We experience more aches and pains. We stop seeing the world the same way. It coats a lens over the way that we perceive things, and we become even more reactionary to things that are going on outside of us. And so for your health, literally for your physical health, it is really important to pay attention to the emotions that you're experiencing. And when you find yourself in a situation like this where you're having a big reaction to something, I know it's really hard to say everything is neutral. I'm assigning the meaning here. But if you can catch yourself and say, wait a minute, I recognize that I am making this something bad. I'm using past experience to say, this is a bad sign right now. This is not good. And it's good that we have those past experiences. They inform us to keep us safe, to ensure our survival. But in a situation like I described with my friend, this is a dinner. This is a text message. This is probably not something to lose a lot of sleep over, to get into a situation where for days and days you feel bad. The thing to do is seek clarity about the situation. Recognize, I've made up a story about this. I've assigned meaning to this. That might not be the real story. Let me go to the person, or if possible in a situation like this, and say, hey, what's up with that? Just wondering, is there a reason why I'm not invited? Making it, not accusatory, just super light. Seeking clarity helps you create a truer story in your mind, and then you can have more valid, maybe, or more in alignment emotions about that, oh, hey, great, he was just letting me know. Whew, no big deal, I can move on with my day and not have to worry about that for 3 days until I see him again. So that's the first thing. And then just recognizing I have complete control over my emotions. Even if historical evidence tells me this is not a good sign, I get to choose inside myself how I feel about this and the meaning that I assign to it. And so I get to find a way to feel better. Maybe it's not about that thing, but about anything. We're always have the power to choose how we feel. People don't make you feel something. We choose to feel something based on a situation and based on prior experience. And I completely understand that. But before that train runs down the track to depression or upset or anxiety, see if you can stop it and recognize that I did this. I made this up. This is my responsibility, and I can clean it up inside myself. So I hope that that's helpful for you. I hope that you're starting to understand the value of really paying attention to your emotions and stopping those bad emotions before they run too far. The value not only from a mental health standpoint, but from a physical health standpoint. This is something that can change your life entirely when you really start to recognize and have you dictating your emotions rather than your emotions dictating your reactions in life.